The touch, the megs, oh, the double megs, oh my god. You forget just how good XAVI actually was at dribbling and things. In today's video, we are going to be stacking up two of the greatest midfield trios of all time up against each other. XAVI, Iniesta and Busquets versus KROOS, Modric and Casemiro. For you personally, who is the greatest midfield trio of all time? We put this poll out on the community tab earlier on in the week, and so far it's XAVI, Iniesta and Busquets who are leading. But after their recent success in Europe, Real Madrid's most recent midfield trio have to be in the conversation, and today we're going to be reacting to a compilation of Barcelona's best bits from their magical trio, and we're also going to be checking out Real Madrid's more recent one to come to a final conclusion of who was better. And so where better to start out for today's reaction than reacting to Barcelona's iconic trio of XAVI, Iniesta and Busquets. Let's go ahead and check this one out. I have to admit that Barcelona 09 team was probably, and probably still is, my favourite team of all time in terms of visually watching them. The football they were capable of, this sort of tiki-taka football. They cut through teams like a knife through butter. And for me, I think that was just like the peak of football growing up. I've not seen anything like it since then, really. And this midfield three was absolutely central to that. I know that, you know, Messi was the best player in the world, but what kept them ticking over, little intricacies like this. I still hold Iniesta as probably one of my favourite players of all time. But Busquets and XAVI also aren't too far away from that. It's just Iniesta's nimbleness to get out of tight situations that really did it for me. But XAVI was very much the pendulum of that team. Busquets kept them ticking over. Iniesta just had that magic in his boots, didn't he? Left foot, right foot. The ball was just glued to his foot. Unbelievable touches from XAVI in this one as well. And the link up between all three of them at times was just absolutely breathtaking. Some of the goals they pulled off. And that's right there what Busquets is the absolute master of. Those tight little situations, do a little drag back and they'll completely deceive you. In tight areas, I can't think of a midfield three who could do it better than these three. You could cram them into the narrowest of zones and they'd still manage to somehow find a way out of it. Right there from Busquets. The pitch is so tight and closed off, but they still wriggle around people and find that space. And to top it all off, they obviously had Messi, which wasn't too bad. Oh, he just never loses his composure whatsoever, does he? The touch, the megs, oh, the double megs, oh my god. You forget just how good XAVI actually was at dribbling and things, because you associate him with those sort of long raking passes, but you know, Iniesta's always the guy who you saw for as the, you know, the bursting dribbler, but XAVI could do that as well. These sorts of runs though, from central midfield, you lay it off to a player like Neymar. Look at that. Oh, and then the little chip. Busquets must just be the master of the cool head at all times, even when everything's like a million miles an hour around him. You just know he's going to take that slightest of touches to take it away from someone. And the footwork is just absolutely unbelievable from all three of them. And to think it wasn't just Barcelona they dominated, but on the world stage as well, for Spain, all the trophies they won together as a trio, in the same era. I think Iniesta is my favourite of the three though. He could twist and turn his body. He had the eye for a pass. And Barcelona just isn't the same without these three, is it? Busquets now the only remaining member, and even he now is sort of winding down and coming towards an end. That's going to take some beating. So that right there was Barcelona's midfield trio. Like I say, I think for me personally, coming into this video, I always thought that that one was really going to be the winner. Barcelona's midfield three, and that team, especially with me coming into football around about 2008, still since then, I've not seen anything like it. But we've got the Madrid trio to go ahead and stack them up against. Let's check out a compilation of theirs first. KROOS, Casemiro and Modric are the next trio. Let's go ahead and jump into this one and see what they have to offer compared to that Barcelona 3. I think it is a totally different play style with these three, really, comparing it to the sort of tiki-taka of Barcelona, but there are some comparison points. You know, we look at maybe Modric as the Iniesta comparison, the Casemiro as the Busquets, and the KROOS as the XAVI comparison. And one thing that you just have to give to these three is the longevity of each of them so far to maintain their levels at the top so that that trio hasn't been interrupted. You know, Modric now at the age he is, he's still winning Champions Leagues, making it look comfortable. And there's no doubting that this is one of the finest midfield trios we've ever seen. And they are the elite of Europe, and that's seen by their success in the Champions League. It has been amazing how long Madrid have been able to keep together the core of this side, and that midfield three is absolutely at the centre of it. I do have to admit as well, like I had probably the most love for Iniesta in that Barcelona side out of that midfield trio, I think my favourite out of this Madrid three is probably Modric, and that probably tells you the sort of player that I'm a fan of, but that's not taken away from KROOS and Casemiro. Casemiro is a very fun player to watch, and he has that little bit of sort of S-housery about him, similar to Busquets really. I think both of those know exactly the role they're playing within that side, and Casemiro absolutely plays the role of that villain, I suppose, the pantomime villain at times perfectly for big matches in Europe for Madrid. I mean, you've got quality like that, the long raking passes from Toni Kroos, the close control of Modric. It is amazingly balanced. And it is amazingly how many comparison points you could probably draw between those two midfields. You know, we mentioned before, you know, Messi got most of the plaudits for that Barcelona side, and rightly so, because he was the best player in the world, and it's a similar case for, you know, Ronaldo for the vast majority, and now Benzema, I suppose, in this Madrid side. You know, they've been the best players in the world, but you can't underestimate the importance that this midfield has had on this Madrid side over the years. Casemiro, the absolute master of those little blocks, slowing down play. And then Modric in those tight situations. KROOS with those massive passes. The only regret I suppose we can ever really have is we never saw each of these midfield threes properly go up against each other in the peak of their powers. We saw a crossover between the players, but at that stage different people were at different stages of their careers. You know, if we had that sort of 2016 Madrid midfield up against the 08 Barca midfield, that would have been absolute fireworks in terms of a midfield battle. And you really can't say anything negative about this Madrid side now. The run they went on in Europe this season, the big moments they produce, and the longevity. Those little dinking passes from Modric, honestly, he's an absolute wonderful player to watch. Look at that. Oh, the little touches in and around the box, the fake shots. One of the most surprising things about Modric as well is the actual engine on him. The amount of work he does tracking back for his side, pressing the ball at his age now, is absolutely sublime. You know, he's totally still at the peak of his physical powers, which is amazing, and shows his longevity as well as this side. Yeah, they are two top trios, to be fair, aren't they? But guys, there we have it. There was Xavi, Iniesta and Busquets versus Casemiro, Kroos and Modric. I want to know from you guys, who would you give the advantage to in a one-off game? Barcelona's midfield in the peak of their powers, or Madrid's? Madrid have certainly had unbelievable success in Europe, but I think I'd have to give the edge there to Barcelona. Personally, I think that midfield three is the best of all time, but Madrid are certainly up there, and for some reason, you can see by the trophy haul, and both those compilations didn't disappoint. If you'd like to see any other trios going head-to-head on the channel, do leave any other suggestions in the comments down below. Apart from that though guys, that will wrap it up for today's video. Thank you very much for watching, and make sure to subscribe. We've got loads of content coming out over the next few weeks on the Planet Football YouTube channel, so do stick around, and we'll see you all in the next one.